these two teams. They obviously know it as well. It's quite a fun matchup, as stressful as it is for these players. We're going to be heading into game 2. C9 win or Fly win, however you feel about this matchup. C9 putting up a pretty good fight for that victory now, and they are looking to pressure FlyQuest out of this series here, as FlyQuest need this win to stay alive. A lot of switching up going on throughout the compositions. We're going to get a whole new matchup coming in on this one.
Absolutely. The series we've been waiting the entire week for had such an explosive game 1. Really now have to see if FlyQuest can bounce back after losing that 6,000 gold lead 29 minutes into game 1. C9 have been lethal in closing out series, undefeated on the year. If FlyQuest can't take him down, you really have to start asking who can stop Cloud9 this year, because they have looked good.
Gotta remember those single games. I believe Dig, CLG as well were able to put those single losses onto C9. After that, haven't really seen much of them. They are able to repair pretty much everything they found to be wrong here, and actually they haven't had to do much besides that. When you're winning, there isn't much to fix. You just keep working on what is going well. Impact getting some deep wards in that won't be denied for Fly this time, so everybody's going to have a bit more information to start things off. I'm going to try to pinch some damage onto Sneaky to start off, but I don't think they'll get it.
Yeah, I mean, what is this? What is this play? I just solo in the enemy jungle, walking into try-bot. She knew it was generally safe because the ward had been placed on the other side, but even if it works, what does success look like with that roam?
A little bit of HP, 1 auto. Feel good about yourself. Contracts, making sure there's going to be no late hits for wards here coming in.
Nice little start here with the sapling stack and the level 1 W for Moon, hoping to be able to take out the Raptors very quickly. Let's watch how this one works. Saplings go off, presses W, quickly clearing the little Raptors, and that's a nice ability to start Raptors. You always want to start this camp because of the enhanced XP if it doesn't beat you to death. So good thing the Pulse was able to give him the healthy pull with the Saplings.
Right to red, they know he's there. Don't really need to get a ping on it. It will start off. Impact actually just getting to lane, so Fly should know that topside start by Contracts. Nothing too new, along with the ward. Good bounce. You try to get away. Sometimes it's the inevitable bounce that already started. And a nice spot for Sneaky here in the team to keep farming up. The wave should kind of stick towards their side.
Yeah, and it's pretty tricky up against Nami as Karma here, because Karma's mainly poke-based here, and Nami can sustain through a lot of this poke. Back when Karma was the meta champion being picked, people thought the all-in potential of the Karma was high enough that you could still win the sustained matchups. And with the ADs going longsword, potentially, if you're able to go all-in, you would have a higher chance of bursting out the AD, but it's pretty unlikely, and I still think it's a pretty favored lane for the Nami.
Taking some nice minion damage, or I should say, giving some nice minion damage over to Balls in the top lane. Impact has that wave again right where he wants it. C9 is going to farm this one out slow to start. Pretty even all around. No interference yet from the junglers. We are going to have quickly Pastry on the sideline. Got to chat with ThinkCard after their pick and ban.
Thank you very much. This time I caught up with ThinkCard over on the FlyQuest side. He said in general he does like drafting against Reapid. Reapid's very smart and it's a lot of fun because they know each other quite well. He said game 1, he thought the draft went well, but obviously the game itself could have gone a little bit better. This game, they're pretty happy with their draft overall and think they're confident winning this game and then taking the series. And lastly, I asked in general their draft style, and he said they like to draft pretty aggressively and bring playmaking chance, and that does show in the kind of play that they've shown us so far. So great to hear from ThinkCard, but back to you guys for the game.
All right, thank you very much, Pastry. And they do have some playmaking potential, but it's a lot of it in the top lane Maokai as far as actual initiation. He can be sped up by the Karma, but that's it as far as the lockdown component goes.
Nice job getting the tick on of Thunderlords. Jensen getting low on mana here, using that command move dissonance really drains the bar. Flash, flash, end of the line just behind High. Smoke Grenade's gonna slow him down. The pull up from Altec is here. It's gonna be a summoner heal in the last second. Gets the save on him. Contracts could be locked up here. They need to keep running an end of the line against the wall. Contracts knows the power of this champion. Level 4 as he moves forward. Lemon Nation finally just getting out of the skirmish in lane to help the team, and 4 summoners blown in defense for FlyQuest to get out of that.
Yeah,
5.
it also hurts Altec's bottom lane substantially high, getting himself into a bit of a mess there, going aggressive onto Jensen, and just the right timing for Contracts, who's able to get the first blood that Moon got in the first game. Watching this one more time, you know, High has the exhaust, so he wants to do an all-in, but he's so low, is able to flash, but at this point, the only way he escapes is if he gets the heal, and then also if Altec can land this deadly flourish route. So he hits him, but the sidestep by Contracts is what allows him to then be able to get the dash forward onto High before he can get to the blast cone. And once he's got that, he's still a level 4 Graves with red buff, so now Altec has to run too.
Starting things off right, coming out with momentum in game 1 and being able to apply it right away. Going back, getting himself built up on some long swords. It'll be a nice buy for Contracts as he gets himself back into this game. First kill on the board there now, this time going in favor of C9. We did see that happening to Impact last game, so things are already off on a better foot here.
Yeah, and speaking of Impact, he's gone with the grasp on Shen, and he's actually, as we saw earlier, kind of winning that 1v1 with Balls, who's going the double Doran's build. Meanwhile, Impact is yet to shop, and it's kind of a perfect world on Shen if you get to level 6 without having to back, because that just means you have so much of your global presence available, and you can get a very clean buying option in.
Yeah.
With Shen off on the teleport being up, which he has done.
Just out of range of Gatling. Good thought by High here to pressure the approaching minion farm for Jensen. Back and forth in the bot lane. Tier being stacked up here by Sneaky. As much as he'd love to get into a fight, they're holding off for the moment. Very even in levels though, so I'll have to see if anything comes from this level 6 in the bot lane. Just over 1,000 gold, or near 1,000 gold, I should say, for Cloud9 to start things off.
Yeah, still relatively even lanes when they push back and forth, and we're hoping for some more aggression. While the chase was happening in the bottom lane, Moon and Jensen actually traded flashes. So that mid lane is currently completely void of summoner spells, which would leave them pretty prime for top lane roams, since they both have flash up in the top lane. It's just a matter of trying to go for the play and seeing if they're willing to take the risk.
Doesn't look like many more risks will be taken. Everybody's going about their own farming, making sure that nothing really puts them back here in the laning phase. It's going to be another close one as we move out into this game. Cloud Drake is the first one that's up. No attention being given to that here. Exhaust coming back up for High in the mid lane. Let me try to bait something in here. Nope. Contracts up to the top side. They haven't had too much forward vision either, so he's kind of walking in blind here saying, I need to get information. May not have actually seen that graphic either, red buff dying, so he says Moon's pretty far away. Now he sees him. Trying to get a first little back and forth for a while here.
Yeah, a lot of respect being given to the Orianna, but now they go for Contracts. Goodbye!
And through the stand united.
Wow, that is the early game burst of the Kazakhs, who I believe has evolved the Q. Moon waits until he can get the isolation onto Contracts and plays it patiently enough to make that work. That is huge, being able to get the Shen ultimate as well.
You feel like it would have been in their favor. Jensen had the lane push, but High still had the movement just up the other side of the Raptor Den. So they answer back with a kill, even things out even more, but this now gives Moon a little bit of time to get inside the jungle of C9.
Yeah, and this is huge because they kind of want to double up on this. High has package, so I wouldn't be too surprised if Moon kind of sticks around and waits for a play as Contracts goes to check this. Ooh, smart ward by Contracts right there before he's face checking. Got to be very careful.
Been in great positioning as well for even a return fight. You have High with that mid lane pushed up, so Contracts looks, or Moon, I should say, looks like he's going to actually stay here for a little bit of fun, knowing he can have High quickly.
Yeah, well, when you have the package in the mid lane, oftentimes you're either in the mid lane looking for ganks in the jungle, or you run into the jungle and have the ability to run out if things go awry. They might actually be trying to prep a dive, but Contract's very smart about where he's staying positioned. Impact doesn't have any way of getting down here. Balls would. They could actually make the force.
Exactly. Both of his ult and teleport are down. That's going to be the hit onto Contracts. We have lost Smoothie in the fight. Sneaky very low. Grenade bouncing over. Smoothie low as well. Throws the tidal wave out to deny Elimination and Altec. But there's just too many members. Then Fly moved too early.
Nice play there by FlyQuest, actually getting the global advantage on the Shen and then utilizing the package on first base. That's actually relatively rare for Corkies to be able to pull that off the right way. FlyQuest, despite giving up first blood, bounced right back in a big way.
Looks like solo. Nope. High's going to stay around. So they share it. And we'll see this one more time. Moon was here for quite some time, and they still said, we have priority over this entire bot with the TP and Stand United down.
Yeah, Contracts does get off the full burst onto Moon, which is the main reason they're able to even trade a kill, and then they're bouncing turret aggro from high as they kill Smoothie onto Lemon Nation, who gets caught by the bubble, but just a fraction of a foot that he was able to get outside of turret range drops the aggro from him, and allows them to gain that 1,500 gold lead.
Gonna be a swap of the lane as we see Altec taking presence now towards the top side. Youmuu's finish for him as he speeds his way up there, trying to gain all of that distance that he can as fast as possible. So he'll clear out 76 to 93. Sneaky was clearing waves just against Altec as he was hiding under the turret, so it's been difficult for them. They've also been pulled out of lane a few times. We saw High running around. Altec went down in that situation as well very early in the bottom of the river, so as much as Fly is doing now, very nice as early game was a little scrambled for them.
Yeah, and they're really just trying to work those outer turrets down. They swap back and then immediately go for Drake. This is actually just a ridiculous shot call. They called Altec to go up, which feints the lane swap, and then Sneaky and Smoothie run out bottom to match. Meanwhile, that actually allows FlyQuest to take the Cloud Drake, because normally when you send your dual lane there, you're conceding the Drake, which is what C9 expected to happen. Now they go for Jensen.
Valkyrie forward. There is a ward on the other side, so they have the knowledge Cloud9 is gathering together. But they don't try to, they don't stop, I should say. They keep trying. Jensen did have to blow his ghost there. Still have the safety of Flash, and Impact is back up with Stand United and Teleport. But they go right to the Stand United and Teleport and try to take it out home.
The Flash.
There it is, finalizing the kill. So Impact may just have to teleport back out if he needs to help the team. Cloud9 now trying to answer in the top lane, but Altec's already there. The movements here from FlyQuest, putting him ahead.
Yeah, pretty straightforward move, and they're also ahead of the play. They think, okay, we just sent our jungler bot, where would Contracts be? Let's actually catch him in the jungle and collapse on that.
Don't know if he can dodge those ones. Tidal Wave coming in from Smoothie. High, very low on mana, so they should be able to waltz out of this one. Turnaround, calling the flash from Smoothie. That's 2 flashes for C9 blown in this fight. Shockwave hit, just missing, but they did have to get High's flash. Everybody's using summoner spells on this one, and it looks like they back off for the time being. A lot of skirmishes now starting off.
Yeah, a pretty bold attempt there actually by High to come up through the river, since they had initially invested the jungler bottom lane, so normally you're just trying to stop the dive from happening on the other side. That was kind of a moment where Fly was playing defense, so to speak, but they tried to make an offensive play, and it was a 0 for 0, but it still stopped C9's offensive.
Should be quite easy for them to just clear this. Basically put the bottom lane top now, as the fight did not result in one of these turrets dropping. And Fly is going to have an easy time in the bot lane. The minions are pushing against the turret. It may just help Impact soak these up, but right now they can just wait for C9 to try and make a move. Sneaky trying to be a pest, as Jensen and High kind of go at it in the mid lane, trying to hit each other up during this farming session. Actually haven't gotten too much action between the junglers to mid, so that's good. That's what we kind of asked for, right? But then High and Jensen aren't fighting, so what are you going to do?
Yeah, High's just fighting other people. He's roaming all the time.
He really has, though. Everything we've seen High do, even on Jace last game, was constructed out of lane. The first 2 kills he got, as Jensen continues to farm it out. That much closer, though, however, 119 to 112. As High returns with another package and possibly another chance for FlyQuest to push into the lead.
And I really have to shout out Balls as well this series. He has been matching Impact and actually outplaying him in this game, just up against the grasp with the Courage of the Colossus, some more teamfighting mastery, beating him to the roams, and also FlyQuest able to keep these outer turrets alive. And we got to see what High wants to do with that package. He always is looking to make a play, but the map isn't necessarily in a spot for it. He might try in the mid lane here.
One more step up, it would have been it. That flash is down, and they would have been able to quickly push Jensen a bit. Stand United is there. We can still see Impact trying to get his way up to a fight. Now 15 minutes in. Looks like we're going to get some wards up here on the top side, and they may just push each other into an engage.
Well, he wants it, but there's so many people on C9 here. FlyQuest also have to account for the Stand United now. Since the last time they made a big play, they had forced it to be on cooldown. Sneaky chipping away at that top turret.
Be the first one they're able to open up, that first blood turret going over to FlyQuest, and they've been able to keep these rotations up. Minions are just the only thing crashing into these turrets for Fly. Sneak is not able to put too many autos on here. Contracts is going to be coming up for safety in the top lane. There it is. It's been waiting for the roam. These wards getting placed in, giving the advantage of HP. Really what it's coming down. They see the engage in mid, say, little pressure relieved in the top side for C9. We can push to the turret. They take advantage of that right away.
Yeah, Moon, always trying to be in the right place at the right time. I appreciate and applaud Cloud9 going top lane, but now they're going to try and collapse down this mid lane. Altec still in the top.
Turn and instantly try to pop contracts. Jensen has just about the same amount of HP, and that Stand United was used by Impact.
The turret getting pretty low. You'd wonder if FlyQuest would want to continue to siege, but with all ultimates being up on the duo lane of C9, it'd be a tricky dive. Oh, Altec, who is up in the top lane, was just trying to shove it out. He's late on the retreat.
Flash for flash. A little added damage to get out. Well, Cloud9, obviously with a bit of room in that game 1 win, but are not really leaving anything to chance here in game 2. Playing very smart, pulling out before they get to any kind of overextensions here in their engages. There you see it was a flash, but they did not try to just chase him down lane. Waves are pretty much even. Nobody really has any advantage to push a turret just yet. Cloud9 finding their first one in the top lane, so we'll have to see who has the better movement here coming out of it. It's just ward wars right now.
It really is, and you're kind of waiting for the seemingly inevitable teamfight phase as these guys both have picked incredibly stylistically similar compositions. Big tank top, physical damage, warrior, jungle, magic damage dealing mid lane. They got the utility, long range poking ADs, and the supportive supports down the line. Their styles are the same, and the game is still pretty close, so it's going to be about execution and who can find the right initiations.
Looks like Kai having a better of a laning phase versus Jensen, as we'd obviously keep an eye on that lane. Jensen saying it would be embarrassing, actually, if we were to lose to FlyQuest. I'm the guy that replaced High. I should be able to take him down.
And in that first game, Jensen getting the player of the game was crushing. He wasn't necessarily crushing High, as High was all over the map, but when it really came down to those team fights, it was Smoothie and Jensen carrying through a lot of it. This game, High once again kind of winning the roaming game, but Jensen still has the rest of the game to play through, and the shockwaves could very well be massive turning points as Corki and Jin are both prime targets for that spell.
We haven't even seen chances really for High to put on some of this poke damage. Altec even opening up with a curtain call. He's been top wave clearing. The options that we've seen them use previously kind of stalled out here due to the fact that they're trying to get some lane control down. Looks like they'll put a little pressure on mid. They've done a good job at warding the bot side. May get a few up to the top right, or actually top left. The way they're running down the lane, it'd be their top right. Confusing. But they will go into that side of the jungle and start putting vision down.
Yeah, I feel like the map is just getting a little bit more and more open. They're kind of trading objectives here as Sneaky is often in the side lane pushing up, and this gives opportunity for FlyQuest to roam the jungle, scout with the plant. Potentially 2 turrets going down here, one on each side.
The push is coming in slow from the bot lane, but I think you are right. See, once they actually see him bot lane, how do they react? They can go right through the jungle here and start to grab a little pressure. Yeah, right onto blue. They ping. Contracts may just be pushed off here.
Yeah, Impact showing down in the lane right there, as well as Contracts being in the jungle instead of down on the other side.
Oh, never mind.
He secures his blue, but they're actually unable to trade turrets. So overall, from a map perspective, it's still advantage FlyQuest.
Outer 3 down, package in. Exhaust immediately onto Sneaky, and this is what we were just asking for, the curtain call, the dive in, the pressure plays, and the top turret goes down. They have the outer 3 now, and they know they can work a little bit inside C9's jungle with safety.
Yeah, big credit to Moon there, flashing out of Jensen's Shockwave as the rest of FlyQuest collapse down onto Sneaky there. And how much do they want to force off of that? It's 19 minutes, 45 seconds into the game. But with the Shockwave and the Shen ultimate burned down, they have the ability to get a lot of wards. Would they?
That must mean it's time for Baron.
It's up in 10 seconds.
It's definitely time for the bait.
Here it comes. You want to bait it early, but...
There's a scrying orb early on Sneaky. Get that out.
He still has the ability, but Sneaky's in base, so he can't quite get there.
Mantra Shield. Smoothie would be the target here. Contract's able to quick draw the distance. I feel like that's, again, one of those, we're C9, but we're not C9.
Yeah.
Jensen, the team, knew that was coming as well. Here's this again.
Yeah, exhaust Sneaky, he absorbs the ultimate, then they land enough Jin bullets onto Sneaky that Impact and Moon can fly in for the execute. And Balls doesn't care if he gets hit by the Shockwave because he's a giant tank. Moon preventing Jensen from being able to get any type of counter kill with the flash.
Yeah, Impact now pushing up in the bottom, but you can see how they're trying to do this. He put 2 control wards in, doesn't realize if anybody's going to be coming through the jungle, which means they're trying to pressure these down, get there as soon as the waves. They don't really have time to get onto the side of FlyQuest map, get that safety down. Has to push off, doesn't know what else is behind Fly. Balls here, and he feels like it's going to be a little bit of pressure as Balls walks past the turret. Flashes well for Impact. Still has teleport, stand united. Not too much off of him.
Yeah, and the rest of FlyQuest is trying to set up a split push right now, so Jin Ultimate actually just used to hold off the wave. C9's going to try and force this one down. Nice job of Contracts actually tanking those Jin bullets.
C9 move out. It took him a while to get that one in the mid lane. They finally actually just find it because at this point, Fly is backing up core items, pushing the lanes, and that's going to give C9 the ability to take down mid. It's what they do with it next. We saw FlyQuest instantly using that package to get into the jungle and under the skin of Cloud9. Now as they repair some of the side lanes, see if they can move their wards forward.
Now we definitely need to keep paying attention to the side waves between these two teams, because as teams in the top of the standings, they have really good abilities to apply map pressure, and so much of that is about just pushing the side waves, waiting until someone is going to clear a wave, and then forcing the team fight, because you don't want to just match 5v5 and brawl into each other over and over again. You want to be able to get the numbers advantage, and that's what this is all about. You can see High constantly in the side lanes, pulling Jensen away. Then when High gets a package, FlyQuest goes in for the fight. And C9 need to find their windows to match that, because FlyQuest is essentially 2 out of 3 on packages into successful fights, and C9 haven't been able to set up any of those plays with what could be a Shen ultimate or a flank. They're just using those reactor.
Speaking of the Shen, we think of that lane as Impact's lane usually, and again in this matchup versus Balls, you figured it would have gone to Impact because of the small things he does to win little minion advantages, lane advantages that put him in the right spot for a gank on Balls. But he seemed to avoid all of that in the top lane, really helping Fly on the whole map. 205 to 191 in that lane. They've also been giving Impact a bit of trouble from the Camille game to this Shen game. So it's been a priority of Fly. Moon goes in with the Edge of Night on to keep himself safe. Stand united immediately. The attempt to turn. Fast fingers on Impact. Can he get a good taunt onto somebody? Don't know if they want it right away. And they back off on this one.
Yeah, Impact had to burn his flash defensively due to the gank about 2.5 minutes ago. And then FlyQuest was able to sidestep that taunt and avoid the turnaround. So Shen ultimate down. Pretty much just the Kha'Zix's ultimate down once again.
They get to relieve that lane pressure as well. Ball still pushing in the bot side. He may actually be able to get an engage here as well. Ooh. Nice hit on the Scryer's Bloom to find him out on the bot side. Smart move by Contracts inside the jungle there. And they're just going to walk out of this curtain call. Balls is still hanging out in the jungle.
Yeah, with the Cloud Drake up, FlyQuest might be waiting for C9 to funnel in balls way around the back. Could this be it?
They don't know where he went. They saw him a second ago. He's on to Sneaky. Shots come through, but they can't seem to get any more follow-up damage. Dragon was still being taken. Moon waiting to get over the wall. He finds Jensen now on the backside. Sneaky's down, and they are flying through. The exhausts are out, so here comes the damage. Impact is the next focus. He's gonna go down. Deadly Flourish just misses Smoothie, and bleeding and limping away from this fight is C9 with 3 down.
Boy, FlyQuest is laser focused onto Sneaky, burning the flash with the curtain call, then burning more flashes to get back on with the twisted advance, and that 3 for 0 is going to transition straight into a FlyQuest Baron.
They only had to wait 4.5 minutes, chat.
They keep pulling off, and the package is going to be up with the Baron buff at some point during the sync, so really big move there by FlyQuest. They're up 6,000 gold at 29 minutes in game 1. Now with the Baron, they're up 6,000 gold at 25 minutes, so progress.
See if they lose this. We'll see this one more time, as it was quite a long engage, thinking this would just be fizzle out.
But then, as we mentioned, being able to reset that wave advantage, having balls sneak through the jungle, getting this flank position, baiting with the Cloud Drake, and then they go immediately on to Sneaky. And Jensen pushed off the side, kind of worried about Moon. No one on FlyQuest is fully committing, so Jensen can't get in for a big shockwave. Notice how the fight is basically over by the time Jensen has time to position. Then he eats the exhaust, so he only gets one onto High and Altec while they're shielded by Karma. Meanwhile, the rest of FlyQuest is just running through the C9 backline.
Shake it out.
Does that after every
Keep it
play.
going. Yeah, he does. Woo.
Yeah, that was a steamrolling fight. They just got straight onto Cloud9, and Cloud9 wasn't able to fight back, constantly in defense mode. There's the package onto a Shen. Okay.
Keeping him out. Missed a few shots.
Going for something.
Definitely makes it harder for Impact to feel good about his split push if that's the kind of damage that's coming in. And FlyQuest turn up the heat now. 9-2, 26 minutes in. Baron being used by Balls, who has controlled his lane now. 2-0-2 on this Maokai pick.
And just once again, 1-3-1. They're actually incredibly spread out right now against Cloud9, but Cloud9 unable to find a strong initiation on one side. That's the way you have to break this up as against an enemy team with Baron that's spreading you out this much. But Balls with teleport, High as well, very confident with his positioning, and FlyQuest chipping away at these outer turrets.
Chain of Corruption, Shockwave could really put FlyQuest in a bad position. Edge of Knights are down, so they have to be careful of how fast they approach this, but I guess Balls kind of takes away that danger when he just walks right in front of the entire C9 team, minus Jensen trying to fend off High. They're starting to spread C9 thin here. They could get that bottom wave coming in a little bit quicker, but they're taking their time, and they have time to take.
Oh, they're going to try and get High.
Shen ulti coming in, no summoners there. What's the rest of the team gonna do in mid lane? They actually go for the pressure. The wave was just pushed off mid, so C9 had to make that snap judgment, and middle and Hib hardly gets any damage on that turret.
Yeah, and it was the right time to go aggressive
Yeah.
by C9. They're finally landing an aggressive play with the Shen ultimate, and FlyQuest does still get a decent chunk out of that Baron. They were able to take out all of the middle tier turrets for C9. Unable to break the base as of yet, but still walk away with this Baron and a healthy gold advantage.
Litter of wards there on the bot side for Fly. I should say the bottom of top. Have a bit of vision now being cleared out by C9. They have some work to do before they can really get themselves back in these fights. Instead, we're looking for that shockwave from the side of Fly. Keeping eyes on Moon in these engages. We'll have to make sure we figure out when High gets the package, because it has been straight in each time he has. We'll keep an eye on that as well.
Absolutely, and FlyQuest doesn't want to misstep here. They were similarly advantaged in game 1, but C9 was able to come back in big team fights. This game, though, Jensen not nearly as involved as he was on that Cassiopeia, and FlyQuest with a much more secure team fighting as far as protecting their valuable members. But that being said, though, High has no magic resist in his build and could still fall victim to a nicely timed shockwave if Jensen can somehow surprise him.
Next Drake is Infernal, 3 already in favor of Fly. Kind of tells you how much control they've had over the majority of this map. Really easy easy going when they've had to contest the Dragons, only finding 1 or 2 members. But having the vision to make sure everything's done safe. Now they move their vision to the bot side of the map, giving Jensen a little trouble in the mid lane as they're going to put pressure on the bottom turret.
Yeah, Impact trying to get outside turrets down with no Baron. They're able to clear the wave away, and it actually puts a bit of time pressure on FlyQuest. Maybe C9 can sneak an outer turret here because Impact was not forced to ult back. A little slow on the turret, though, let me say.
He's trying. A for effort. He'll be back. Actually, you might find Altec in a second.
What?
The wall.
Got him. Oh, no. No. He's already used Deadly Flourish. Cooldown not coming up yet.
It's only so much you can do.
Smart to use the teleport. Save the stand United because he's going to want that shield.
See what core items are finished here. Ballsy getting even bigger. The GA now up for him. He's even able to stack more items in. However, no control ward, so his wards may dwindle out as he goes to the side lane, scrying or being picked up there. You're going to see Fly controlling dragons, controlling objectives. Baron in the mid, and 30 is going to kind of match with this Infernal Drake. So one big fight could really mean a lot for either team here, and we've seen this is when Cloud9 can find their way back in.
Yeah, and it's just a pretty daunting task in this game because it is that 8,000 gold lead, 3 Drakes, GA completed for balls on the tank. Redemption and everything Lemon Nation would want. Not to mention FlyQuest have been the ones to find the right team fights, but because it's been so long since that last fight, 19 of the game's 20 summoner spells are up for this next fight, and it
makes me a little sad.
Definitely going to be a big one.
Definitely less clapping of fools within this game, as was promised.
Yeah, we did a bunch of it last game.
Yeah, I know. You kind of make up for it. Pressure from high. Impact knows the damage he can take and is just really trying to get what other vision is behind high, because they are getting strangled out right now. Everything's going to happen from the front side of the base. Smoothie could have a nice tidal wave to really lock up a shockwave. It's all easier said than done. Looks like Moon may just get himself a Infernal Drake by himself here. High could help.
Yeah.
Ooh. Good timing by C9. He might have to make Fly think twice.
Well, they're definitely just going to use this time to try and get a little bit of vision around Baron. It's pretty unrealistic to be able to actually contest the Infernal Drake, but they're at least hoping they'd be able to get something in a Baron. Even then, I wouldn't be completely shocked if C9 even gave up the Baron, but with vision, at least that gives them the chance of getting a pick if FlyQuest is trying to do something cute with Baron.
They do have pretty decent wave clear. Unfortunately, taking a bit of poke from Altec and High, but Sneaky can shred down these waves along with contracts if they're in the right spot. You can see they can't get too close to the turret after just a few abilities.
I actually really like the Knight's Vow out of Balls' Maokai. I think it's one of the best late game tank items for Maokai since he's healing so much already. Pairing that with someone like Corki, since you do heal for the damage that the Corki does, makes him actually a little bit more unkillable for a very low cost. Here we go with Baron.
Oh, Contract's trying to do anything. And that combination of long-range attacks, High, Altec, and Lemon Nation coming up with a kill. No contest for this Baron, and FlyQuest looking much more sturdy here in game 2.
Yeah, a very inelegant Baron steal attempt by Contracts right there as he gets destroyed.
You gotta do what you can, right?
No one on his team was even close, but this actually sets up a really powerful push for FlyQuest because they know Contracts is down for another 25 seconds, and they're gonna get these Baron-empowered minion waves to the inhibitors before Contracts is back.
Impact pushing bot with all his life. He's gonna have to come back real soon because they're about to lose the base. Fly knocking on the front door, 33 minutes in. They're gonna look for the first inhibitor down on this match. It looks like they are very close to bringing it to a game 3. We saw how zany game 1 got, so you can't really seal anything right now. It'd have to be a big mess up though from Fly as they are closing down on the second inhibitor. The curtain call is opened up. Cloud9 can just sit back and watch the show as their inhibitor goes down. Contracts trying to thread in a few shots, but still just to reload, back up and watch it go down.
Yeah, I mean, even though I thought they were just going to give over the Baron, that was one of the worst ways in which C9 could give over the Baron while losing their jungler, who's also one of their best forms of physical damage wave clear against very hard to clear Baron minions. So they give up 2 inhibitors when they could have at least had a little bit of a contest here. And now FlyQuest with tons of time left on their Baron buff, a fresh shop right in there, finishing the Gunblade onto the Corki and even getting a rapid fire cannon onto the Jhin. Just more powerful for this next push, which only needs to take down 1 more inhibitor before they get all 3.
Much more methodical coming into this game. And it does not seem like C9 has found a way to stop it. FlyQuest ready to siege at the next turret. If the minions aren't going to do the damage for him, it'll be high and all tech with balls ready to dive straight under. Moon following close in tail. Edge of Night knocked off contracts. Almost a deadly flourish that could have turned this fight around. A little harder to clear these waves, but they still have the damage. Top's going to be pushing with super minions soon. They're just buying themselves time until they can make the final push.
Yeah, and they do actually just have to buy a little bit of time. They killed those inhibitors so quickly and immediately went down for this push that it's ideal for them to crash in time. But the poke is just so huge onto C9 right now. It's pretty difficult for C9 to pull anything off here. You want them to try with a Varus ultimate or a Shockwave somewhere, but even now, High's just getting him low, and the Curtain Call is going to push him back once again.
He's just holding it. He's like, I will extend this ult as long as I can to deter you from guarding it. Moon over the wall, that's the damage on the turret that's required. And here come the cavalry super minions in the top, in the mid lane. All 5 members of FlyQuest standing tall with full HP as they enter onto the Nexus turret. Sneaky, half HP impact, blocking the deadly flourish. And they're able to threaten the auto attacks well, keeping C9 at bay, 5 strong in their own base.
And a pretty rough ending here for C9 is finally they try and go in for a fight.
Impact going for broke, they roll the dice, Moon's the target, exhaust down on him and they get him. Flies the next one, Impact with a second taunt, true to his target. Balls in the front with slicing, or with vengeful maelstrom I should say. Contracts getting exhausted, Lemonation focus his resolve and locks down Contracts. Fly, Balls taking on 3 full members of C9 as the rest of the team focuses the Nexus, and he's still got the GA to go through. They're gonna be on the Nexus. High raises his arms in victory. We're going to a game 3 from FlyQuest and Cloud9.
And that game was quite one-sided in the favor of FlyQuest. C9, after falling behind a bit in the mid-game, really unable to mount any type of answer to FlyQuest, who just rotated around, objective by objective, 4 Elemental Drakes, a Baron, the full round of inhibitors, and just closed Cloud9 out with ease.
That was down to business. And you even saw, they won, they're in the back. All right, we're gonna do it again. Whatever they're saying, they were off stage quick and making sure they get enough time back there to figure out what's gonna happen in game 3, because this means a lot to both teams. Nobody wants to go down here. We're going to game 3.
Yeah, keep that momentum going. They were able to just draft very similar compositions and beat C9 in what is close to a mirror match, right? Moon was pretty decent at keeping Contracts down in the early game at one point, level 7 to 5, but so much of that was just High, roaming around the map on Corki, always landing with his packages, but with the low kills and how, you know, C9 really didn't seem like they could mount any answer. It was very much a team-feeling victory by Cloud9 as they just slowly took down all the turrets.
Balls flanking and positioning so good in this game as well. We saw that Dragon fight, and he had actually been seen by the Bloom. They had hit the Bloom, they saw him in the bottom and said, wait, but the fact that that Dragon was pressured pulled him right back down into Balls. There's nothing they could do about it. Seeing FlyQuest have that much control is definitely going to make Cloud9 think coming into game 3. For more on how FlyQuest tied up that series, let's pass it over to Freak and our analysts.
Thank you very much, Riv. What a game. FlyQuest, after a throw really in game 1, come back and just dominate after the first maybe 5 minutes, the rest of the game through, and it was really solid by them.
It was really surprising the way they did it, too. Like, this is not the FlyQuest that we expect to see. They have a really standard draft. They play the game out very slow and methodically, so I think this was just a total different FlyQuest, and I don't know if it took C9 by surprise, but they seemed almost asleep a little bit during this game.
Yeah, they really did, and I think FlyQuest played well, but this was also C9 just playing poorly, it felt like. It felt like they were not proactive. All the Shen ults were very defensive. People were getting caught out. People were not really like creating opportunities to go aggressive, and that's how I think Shen succeeds the most, is when you're using the ultimate in a coordinated way offensively. You know, Jensen never felt like he really got off the ground. The whole game in general felt very lackadaisical all the way up to the end, where they're giving up their 3rd inhibitor before even fighting, right? They're fighting at their Nexus when the game is already done. It just, it felt very strange to see Cloud9 in that situation.
Right, so let's talk about the Shen allowing to be proactive. We have a combined replay here, and it's the fact that making a mistake can snowball into even more being grabbed up, and it starts with the Contracts trying to take more of the jungle away from Moon, and they lose the first Shen ulti, trying to keep him alive.
And I mean, he knew that the Kha'Zix was there. The Kha'Zix is level 6. He dies, and not only does he die, but he takes the Shen ultimate. Now, cue this dive. Everyone remembers this. This is what started to really snowball the game. Imagine now if there is that same United on Contracts in this situation. Perhaps he doesn't go down, a taunt lands on high, etc. It's at least very risky to try to pull off this dive, and instead, this is kind of really what brings FlyQuest into the lead, and those mistakes can cost you a lot because Stand United is a very long cooldown early in the game. Impact is TPing back to lane because he knows that he has this global ultimate to be able to respond to the fights. Contracts not only gives up his life, gives up the ultimate too, and that costs him the dive in the bot lane.
And the sad part about that was the fact that their bot lane for C9 was winning really, really hard.
Yeah.
Alltech had to run to try and help High out once, and he lost both summoners, a ton of farm, and pressure in the lane, and so...
He was down like 30-something CS.
Right, and you think that like with a Shen, you're going to start diving bot lane relentlessly, but Contracts on your screen made that big mistake in that invade topside, and they lose what should be their game plan from there, kind of getting flipped around totally on them, where there's dives happening to their bot lane. So that really gave up control of the game initially, and then we didn't see much out of them the rest of the game where they were finding ways to use the Shen.
Right, we saw a team fight where it felt like Ball was able to walk into a flank and make it a big team fight. Our next replay up here is going to be a FlyQuest 3-for-0 off of Balls just getting onto the back line of Maokai, and it was almost effortless.
And he's had a number of good flanks, some off the back of TPs. This one he just walked in from bot lane, walked straight behind. They force Sneaky Splash with the Jhin ult just prior to this, so he knows he's an easy target. They jump onto him, and Balls is doing a great job tanking. It's a little hard for FlyQuest to get involved in the fight, but once, the fact that Balls can make it take so long, finally they're able to join up, they finish him off, and it's a chaser onto the rest of the team, and from there, they're able to turn on to Baron.
Yeah, exactly. Once they had that Baron, it really did seem like a bit of a foregone conclusion. Look at High's damage, pretty impressive there. He was really proactive and played very well this game. I think his utilization of the package, especially in the early game, was huge and critical in getting them that lead.
And it's actually kind of interesting looking at this. High, of course, was absolutely huge. I want to first talk about some of these members on C9 where we're saying that they're not being very proactive. I want to start a discussion on Contracts and say now that C9 are actually against a team that can test them, is Contracts really a super great jungler, or is he just on the best team or the second best team in North America?
You go first.
I mean, to me, even before they were tested today, Contracts hadn't really been shining for me. He's been someone who was kind of there, and it felt like he's along for the ride. He's playing pretty well for the most part. But if you don't look incredible when you're jungling for the team that has all winning lanes, then you're probably not doing as well as a lot of other junglers are. The fact is, it's massively easier to play when all your lanes are winning, which C9 almost always has. And when you compare it to someone like Acadian, right, who's coming into the league or Moon, on teams that their lanes are not always winning. FlyQuest famous for having CS deficits and stuff, and they still make things happen, even though they have to cover their lanes for their opponents. They have to do things to help them out instead of being proactive and looking for ganks.
I mean, we've seen Contracts on things like Kha'Zix and Lee Sin looking really good. His Ivern's fine, but it's almost always playing around Jensen, who's generating his own lead. And we saw that when that doesn't happen, like game 1, and here he was trying to do it a little bit but got punished. It feels like he takes a really backseat to the game, and he's there just supporting the rest of the team. And in these kinds of games where no one on the team was really making anything happen, he's not the one to do it either.
Well, speaking of players making things happen, though, High, player of the game on this one, I think completely well-deserved. Most damage in the game by a long shot. I think double almost anyone else in this game overall. A damage percent, 44.8. Sure, some of that's quirky, but he's obviously doing incredible. And yeah, okay, you're up against Jensen, maybe the best laning mid laner in North America, and he matches lane, roams down, gets 2 kills, roams top lane, gets a couple more kills, roams bot lane, gets some more kills, and just smashes everybody.
This is one of the first times I've seen Jensen in a lane matchup where not only is he behind on the roam, but he's actually losing in farm and stuff too. So the fact of the matter is Jensen seemed maybe a bit nervous here. We actually were talking about in game 1 how Jensen has the tendency to, if he can't match the roam for sure and get something out of that, he always shoves the wave, he gets ahead in CS, he gets turret damage down. In this, we saw, like especially on that bottom dive, he roamed like 15, 20 seconds too late, kind of wanders down, can't do anything there.
Waits 5 seconds.
Loses the wave in mid lane, doesn't get turret damage down. So this is something that was pretty uncharacteristic from him, and he should be winning at least in farm if High is roaming and doing all these things, because if you roam late, you get the worst of both worlds. So it was definitely weird to see.
And I think if you're Reaper here, you got to do something to fire your team up. I mean, obviously, they've lost 2 early games versus FlyQuest. FlyQuest kind of threw with that Baron call in the first game. Even with gifted a lead initially in this game, they didn't make anything happen. They were making mistakes. So you got to find some way to get your team engaged in the game and start making plays. And I know it's scary to do that against FlyQuest because they're a very scrappy team. Like, they're down to make crazy fights. We see High like die and come back and die again. He doesn't care. They still win games like that. But you have to start forcing something that's favorable for you and not just reacting to everything FlyQuest is doing.
You know, we'll see if an aggressive play can come out of Cloud9 because Game 3 is coming up and it's going to be a doozy. Meet us here for the finale, and the conclusion, and the Game 3 of Cloud9 vs FlyQuest after the break. See you soon.
I want to shit talk, but like they're gonna put it in like mic check, you know, and then I'm gonna look like a dick.
Hi, Lemon Mic check. Can you head into lobby?
No, we just have to say really nice things.
Yeah, one.
Altec is here. It's going to be a summoner heal in the last second. Gets the save on him. Contracts could be locked up here. They need to keep running the end of the line against the wall. He finds Jensen now on the backside. Sneaky's down, and they are flying through. The exhausts are out, so here comes the damage. Impact is the next focus. He's going to go down.
Finally, they try and go in for a fight.
Impact going for broke. They roll the dice. Moon's the target. Exhaust down on him, and they get him. Flies the next one. Impact for the second taunt. High raises his arms in victory. We're going to a Game 3 from FlyQuest and Cloud9.